It's been a delight to be associated with you all of
Thank
these
you.
years. I think that would be a wonderful contribution to our conversations and to our clients, is a much clearer understanding of why either the Process Enneagram in some cases, or the Strategic Inquiry Enneagram, but specifically, why is the Process Enneagram lend itself to complicated or complex situations?
You really mean how, don't you, does it? Not why.
I actually, both.
Okay.
I actually am curious about, because we keep referring to this is the process to use in those circumstances. Why is that? Build a case for that. Help me understand that.
I can. I should add that I'm on a search for an alternative to the Process Enneagram. Not to replace it, but to hold it side by side so that we have more options. But at this point in time, the Process Enneagram is, in my view, probably the very best tool, framework, model, approach to use where you have both order and disorder, stability and instability existing in the same situation. And that usually in organizations involves such things as politics, covert dynamics and hidden agendas, overly complicated tasks. It's probably the potential for surprise and reframing by following the particular sequence of the Enneagram that attracts me most to its use.
Yeah.
What tends to happen when you use it, not every time, but more than 9 times out of 10, is that you get to a point where people start to share information with one another that they had no other way of sharing before. And as that sharing occurs, as that new information is put on the table, others see things in a new perspective. They add some other new information that's never been aired in public before. And the group as a whole starts to reframe their understanding of the dilemma. That's not unique to the Enneagram. There are many processes that do that. What is unique is that I think that the 9 dimensions generally allow for that to happen more often than not.
And so it is interesting. You've said many things, but 2 things that stood out to me that I think are very significant. It's the sequence that's very
Yes.
powerful, and what happens around the sequence. The connections that people make and understandings that build around through that
It is.
sequence. And you said it's also the critical nature of effective facilitation.
Correct.
You don't have to be a professional, but can you say a word or two about what is it about the facilitation? What are the attributes or the characteristics of that kind of facilitation, in addition to the sequence, that makes the combination be effective?
Being clear about the outcome that the client wants when addressing this complex problem is 90% of the facilitation.
Yeah.
Because if the facilitator has a clear outcome in their mind that the whole conversation sits within, a frame, if you like, they tend to know where and how to guide the conversation better than most.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to know where and how to allocate certain types of information. They tend to know where and how to go after special types of information using the 9 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the essence of effective facilitation in this.
I would add, useful job, I might say, and I would add one more dimension, is patience. That too often I see people in a big hurry to run through the sequence.
Oh,
so
yes.
you've said that, but I just want to emphasize that it's have confidence that the sequence and the process will work, and to be patient and not to rush the process.
I have got to the point in my own professional life where I just trust it innately as a process. I would love to have another process to put side by side with it that does as good a job as this with complex problems. But right at this moment I don't. I'm sure there will be one.
Yes, and I think we're on the verge of discovering that together.
Oh, well, maybe.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.